So when it comes to a great steak, the filet mignon is one that's gonna have you scoring big time with your guests or even on that next date night, which is why today I wanna show you how to grill up the perfect filet mignon using the slow and sear and cold grate technique. Coming up. Hey, welcome back to Adrenaline Barbecue. I'm Jabin Postal, and today at the grill, we're gonna be cooking up these delicious filet mignons using the slow and sear as well as the cold grate technique. And just like always, I'm gonna put all the show notes for you in the description box below, so make sure to click down there to see everything that you need for this recipe. So when we're talking about the filet mignon, we're talking about the center portion of the beef tenderloin. And this is the section where your butcher will cut it into thick steaks. And you know, it might not be the most flavorful cut of beef, but it's the most tender, which makes it really the most desirable cut of beef. So what I did is I went down to my local store and found these prime grade filet mignons and asked my butcher to cut them into 2-inch thick steaks. And so what you're looking for when it comes to finding the perfect filet mignon is that there's a lot of marbling in it. Filet mignon is known to be a little more lean, but very tender. And so you don't really get a lot of marbling in some of the lower grade cuts. And so this is a prime. And so you can see right off the bat, there's a lot of marbling, and this is what you're wanting to look for. One thing you'll notice is that if you get it from a butcher, they might leave on some of the silver skin, and so if that's the case, then just go ahead and take a knife and remove that, because you don't want that on your fillets at all. One of the other things that you're gonna be looking for is that they're both the same size, same diameter, same thickness, so that you get some even cooking when you're cooking all of your steaks together. So to prep these steaks, we're gonna be doing a simple dry brine. What a dry brine is the process of adding salt to add flavor as well as to lock in the juiciness. So whenever you're doing a dry brine, you're gonna be adding a half a teaspoon of kosher salt to every pound of meat that you're using. And so these filet mignons are about half a pound each. And so we're gonna be using 1/4 teaspoon per steak. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your salt, and you're just gonna sprinkle it on both the top side and the bottom side. Once the one side's done, flip it over. We're gonna get another 1/4 teaspoon because we're splitting it, and we have a half a teaspoon total because these are both together 1 pound. All right, so now that we have the salt on our steaks, we're gonna go ahead and place it into the fridge for a minimum of 2 hours, but ideally, if you have the time to do it overnight, that is always your best choice. And so, since we've already done this the night before, I wanna show you what these will look like. All right, so we did these ones last night, and we used the same amount of salt in our dry brine as we did on these ones. They're about the same size, and we put it on the wire rack and left it in the fridge uncovered. And you can see the outside is a nice rich red, and this just means that the salt is doing its job, as well as the outside is drying a little bit. And this is important because when it does come time to searing these steaks over the slow and sear, they're gonna form a nice crust. All right, so now that these steaks are all prepped and ready to go, we're gonna get our slow and sear all set up for a cooking temperature of 225 degrees, then come back and get them onto the grill. So it's been about 20 minutes now, and our slow and sear and kettle grill are all set up for cooking these fillets. And what we've done is we've piled up about 23, 25 briquettes into the slow and sear. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take our fillets and place them opposite the slow and sear, right in the middle there. Also, now that we have our fillets onto the grill, we're gonna take our digital thermometer and we're gonna probe the inside of one of these steaks. And this is important because we're going to be monitoring the internal temperature throughout the cook, because once it reaches about 80 degrees, we're going to go ahead and flip the steaks over just to get some nice even cooking onto these fillets. As well as when it hits 90 degrees, we're going to load up another fresh basket of hot coals that will be ready once the steaks hit 115 degrees, where we're going to pull them off again and get them ready for the sear. All right, so these fillets have been now cooking for about 23 minutes, and the internal temperature is now just hit 81 degrees. And so we're gonna go ahead and open the grill and flip these fillets over. So now that those are flipped, you're going to close the lid and continue cooking these fillets until they reach an internal temperature of 115 degrees. All right, so these fillets have now been cooking for just under 1 hour, and the internal temperature has reached 115 degrees. So we're going to go ahead and get them off the grill and get them prepped for our sear. One thing that we're also going to do is the cold grate technique. And so at the same time we take the fillets off the grill, we're going to actually take the grate off as well, because we want that grate to cool down so that it's not hot. So when we go to put the steaks onto the grate, they're not going to be seared by the grill itself. Then once the grate's off the grill, we're going to take our chimney basket of hot coals and pour it into the slow and sear. So we want to prep our fillets now, and so how we're going to do that is, first of all, we want to dry the surface off of the exterior here. And so we're just going to take some paper towel and just dry as much of that moisture off. Go ahead and do both of them. Then the next thing that we're going to do is take some cooking oil. We're going to brush that on to the top side and the bottom side here. We're going to take some black pepper and we're going to coarsely grind it onto the top. And so this oil is going to help with the sear when we get it over the hot coals, as well as it's going to just help the pepper stick to the outside of the fillet. You know, flip it over. And we're going to do the same to the other side as well. So now you have your steaks all prepared. It's now time to get them onto the grill. And so we're going to be using the Easy Spin grate, which really makes it simple to do the cold grate technique. And so we're going to place that in just over the hot coals. Then we're immediately going to take the fillets and get them over the hot coals. And once it's on there, we're going to start a timer for 1 minute. So once we have our fillets onto the grill over the hot coals, we're going to do each side twice for 1 minute each, flipping each time in between minutes. So after 1 minute, we're going to rotate the grate, a quarter spin, and flip the steaks over, exposing another piece of the cold grate here. So here we go. It's been now 2 minutes. So we're going to take our grate, spin it a quarter turn, and flip them over again. So that's now 3 minutes. We'll give it another quarter spin. And these are looking really nice. You can see that that sear crust is forming on the outside really nicely. The oils are just bubbling a little bit, and these are looking super, super nice. All right, so these only have a few more seconds, so we're gonna flip them and pull them off at the same time and take the internal temperature to see what they're reading at. Those are perfect. All right, so our filet mignons have got a reverse sear. We use the cold grate technique, and we're gonna slice it open and take a look and see what it looks like. Ooh-wee. You can see that that's cooked perfectly. We cooked it to 135 degrees, which is the way I like it, medium rare. And let's give us a taste test here. Oh my goodness. That is incredible. The crust, that sear, is amazing. So that's how you make that delicious filet mignon using the cold grate technique. Make sure to check out the description for the full recipe, as well as leave a comment and hit that subscribe button for great barbecue recipes just like this one. And remember, at Adrenaline Barbecue Company, we didn't invent the kettle, we perfected it. See you next time.